All right, good morning, guys. I'm going to start on SAS 2. And if you were in class yesterday, then I will let you know what part in the comments to go to. But if you were not in class yesterday, you might want to watch this whole video so you understand section 2. It gets a little challenging at the end. But tomorrow in class, I am going to go over it again. So just bear with us. It talks about complex numbers. So, we'll go over that more in class where you can have a better understanding. I'll also make a video tomorrow for all my people who will not be here. So just be on the lookout for that one. All right, so on number 1, it goes back to the overview, which was the perimeter, the area, the length, and the width problems. So it asks you for the solutions of this equation. All right, our solution, our answer that we are looking for is when the area equals 50. So on your paper, I want you to circle the row where it has the area equals 50. All right, so we have two solutions. We have a solution of 10, and we have a solution of 5. That means when I plug those numbers into my equation, okay, I'm going to get out 50. So you know that's our solution. If you look at number 2, I want you to circle where the two lines intersect. Now remember, our solutions are our x-intercepts. We always want to use our x values when we're finding our solutions. So we have two sets of parentheses, 5 and 50 and 10 and 50. Well, our solutions are going to be 5 and 10. Okay, it's just another way to find your solutions. So we've looked at a table first to find our solution. We've looked at a graph where they intersect to find the solution. Now, if you jump to number 4, because we skipped number 3 yesterday, we will touch on number 3 tomorrow. If you go to number 4, it talks about solving by factoring. Yes, you have learned to factor. Have you forgotten it? Maybe so. I'm not sure. But you've seen it before. So first, I'm going to... I think something happened to my video. Maybe so. I don't really know where it paused, but... it can't be too far along. But make sure you have this information right here. A equals x squared term. B equals x term. C equals constant. You have this big X. You have the letter B in the bottom. A times C up top. The word add. The word multiply. The word factor on either side. Okay, now, over on the left side of my paper, I wrote A equals, B equals, and C equals. Okay, so remember the word term, right here, means a number. So what number is in front of that x squared? Well, it's a 1. We don't write it, but we know it's a 1. What number is in front of the x? It's a negative 15. You always keep your sign. Constant means it does not have a letter. It's just a number, so that will be 50. Okay? So now I'm going to erase this. I'm going to draw me an X. In the bottom is B. Remember, B goes in the bottom because B and B. So we have a negative 15. In the bottom, up top, we have A times C, so 1 times 50, which is 50. On either side, we have something called a factor. So we have to find two numbers that add to get negative 15, but at the same time, they also multiply to get a positive 50, okay? So, I always do multiplication first. 1 times 50. It does give me 50, but does it give me negative 15 if I add? No. 2 times 25. It does give me 50, but does it give me negative 15 when I add? No. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work. 5. Would 5 work? Yes. A 10 and a 5. But is something going to have to be negative? Because if I add a positive 10 and a positive 5, I get a positive 15, and I need a negative 15. So I think both of them need to be negative. Because remember, a negative trumps a positive. So, a negative 10 times a negative 5 equals a positive 50, while at the same time, a negative 10 plus a negative 5 is a negative 15. Okay? So, negative 10 and negative 5 are my answers. My factors, not my answers, sorry. My factors. I want to find my answers. I want to find my solutions. I want to find my x-intercepts. Those 3 words mean the same thing. So, all I'm going to do is make 2 sets of parentheses. And I'm just going to attach an X out front. Just like that. Now, I want to set both of them equal to 0. And I want to solve for X. All I'm doing is adding the other term. Right? So X equals 10. And X equals 5. Is that not the same answer that I got on number 1 and number 2? Yes. So now we've done 3 ways. We've looked at a table, we've looked at a graph where they intersect, and we've used the big X method. Okay? Now, I'm going to go to number 5. Okay? Look at number 5. Look, they distributed their X first. Then they swapped the order just like we did because they don't like negative numbers. Then they factored. They set them both equal to 0 and they solved and they got the exact same answers as us. So I want you to write on number 5, x-intercepts equal 5 and 10. So now we're up to 4 ways of how to solve. Now, the fun part. Love this. Everybody in class loved it too. You can ask any of them. They love this song. Okay, so this song is rather silly, but I promise you it will help you so much if you learn this song and you learn the quadratic formula, which is what we're going to be really doing from here on out. So I'm going to hit play. All right, so terrible, I know, but I promise it helps. So I want you to take a second and I want you to write this quadratic formula on number 6 for me. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Sing along with them. Listen to it over and over and over. I promise it will help you. All right, so number 6. First, until you learn this quadratic formula, it will be in your best interest to always write A equals, B equals, and C equals. Okay? So, we're looking at this equation. We have not swapped equations. We're still using the same one. So, A is still 1. Remember the x squared term. B is the x term, so that's a negative 15. And C is the constant, so that is 50. All right. So, I am going to hit play. And I want you to watch what they do. So first, they are plugging in 1 for A. They're just plugging in numbers, guys. For B, they are plugging in a negative 15. And for C, they are plugging in 50. Okay? So, I want to experiment with you. And I did this with the class yesterday too. Let me pull my calculator up. All right. So, you see in this equation, this part right here, negative 15 squared. Let me show you how important it is that you always use parentheses. If I simply plug in, oh, there it is. If I simply plug in negative 15 squared, you see I get a negative 25, okay? However, if I plug in a negative 15 in parentheses, because I plugged that in for B, for a letter, and I square it, I get a positive 225. So you have to think, which one's correct? Well, the second one is correct because this right here means negative 15 times negative 15. These two negatives make a positive, so that would be a positive 225. So that's how important it is to always plug in using parentheses. So now we must simplify. So first, these two negatives make a positive. So we have x equals 15 plus and minus. It's plus or minus because it is a quadratic function. And we learned in topic 5 that quadratic functions have at most 2 distinct real zeros. They can have 0, they can have 1, they can have 2, but they cannot have more than 2. Now, we have to simplify the square root. We just decided that negative 15 squared was 225. Watch what I do. I bring down that minus sign. That's all I do. Bring it straight down. Then I'm saying 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 50 is 200 all over 2. Because 2 times 1 is 2. I'm going to keep going because I can keep simplifying. 15 plus minus the square root. 225 minus 200 is 25 all over 2. But guess what? I can keep going. 15 plus minus, what's the square root of 25? 5 divided by 2. Now, this is where you might get a little confused. So, I'm going to move this over here so I have more room. So, we have a 15 plus and minus 5 over 2. This is the same thing as me saying 15 plus 5 over 2 and 15 minus 5 over 2. All I did was split it up. Okay, I did nothing more, I did nothing less. I just split it up. Okay, now all you do is keep simplifying. 15 plus 5 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. 15 minus 5 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. Are these not the same answers that we've had for like the 17th time now? Yes, this is just another way to solve a quadratic equation, okay? All right. Number 7. Skip number 7. We'll hit that tomorrow. Number 8. All right, on number 8, it tells us to use a graphing calculator. When it says to use a calculator, do you think you might ought to use a calculator? Yeah, might be in your best interest. So look, I'm going to show you how to do it on Agile Mind. So it's up here, you see this calculator. We're going to click it, and we're going to go to graphing because that's what we're doing. And it's going to pull up this graphing calculator. Okay? Now, for number 8, here's our thing. Okay? We are typing in x squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. Okay? Now, you bring it back down by clicking the hide keyboard, and we need to zoom out because we cannot see our graph. Wait, what happened? Let's see. Whoa. All right. Let's exit. Let's try this again. All right. Let's go back to about right there. All right, now let's do x squared plus x minus 12. Yeah, we're right there. Okay. Here's our graph. Okay, so on your paper, I want you to notice 3 things. We have a y-intercept of negative 12, hence why it has this negative 12 right here. We have an x-intercept at positive 3 and negative 4. Now, while you're drawing that on your graph, I'm going to do the big X method, and you can go back and watch. All right. Now, if you get off, remember, you can always pause the video if you need to. If you hit check, it's going to show you the exact same thing that our graph just showed us. Okay? Now, the next one, we're going to go back to our graph. We're going to get rid of that one, and we are going to type in x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now, Look at this graph. What do you notice about it? It has a y-intercept at 4, but it just has one x-intercept at -2. Why is that? Here's why. What two numbers add to get 4 but also multiply to get 4? 2. So when you have two of the same factors, this is called a double root. Okay, it's double because there are two of them. All right, so this equation just has one solution, where on A we had two solutions. So remember, quadratic can have at most two. So we've had two solutions, we've had one solution. So now, what do you think C is going to be? I bet I can guess. I bet it has none. So now for C, we are graphing x squared plus 4x plus 8. And if you look, it does not have any x-intercepts because here's our x-axis at the bottom. But it does have a point, a y-intercept of 8. And the point is -2, 1, 2, 3 is -2, positive 4. And this has no real solution. Okay? Okay. This is where we stopped in class, so I'm going to write myself a note, and it is at 20, 23, 30. For anybody who is just now hopping on, we are starting where we left off in class yesterday. All three classes, we stopped at the same spot. So I'm going to go down to number 9, which is where we left off. All right, and it says, the height of a tomato dropped from 16 feet above the ground is given by the function h of t equals -16 t squared plus 16. How long will it take for the tomato to hit the ground? Well, if you were hitting the ground, you were on the ground. You're going to be at what? You're going to be at your lowest point. You're going to be rock bottom. So you're going to be at 16. At 0. You're going to be at 0. So now I have to solve. So I want to get t by itself. So first, I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. And I'm going to get -16 equals -16 t squared. Now, I'm going to have to divide by -16 on both sides. Well, -16 divided by 16, I'm going to move up here, is a positive 1 equals t squared. what I'm left with. These cancel and these cancel, and I'm left with positive 1 for both. When you take the square root, because we got to get rid of a square, it's a, let me back up, make this a little bit. There we go. Take the square root of both sides. Now, when we take the square root, we have to have a positive and a negative answer, because a positive and a positive make a positive. Also, a negative and a negative make a positive. So that is why. What's the square root of 1? Yep, just 1. So this square root and this square cancel. We're left with t, and we're left with plus and minus 1. But remember, we're doing time. Can time be negative? Nope. So t just equals 1. Okay? T equals 1. All right, number 10. These are all reinforced, so I'm going to do one of each, and then I want you to try to do the others. All right, we're factoring. So, 2x squared minus 2x equals, whoops, not negative, equals 12. So remember, all quadratic equations must be set equal to 0. So I want to move this negative 12 over. So I have a 2x squared minus a 2x minus 12 equals 0. Okay? Now, is there a number that goes in to 2, negative 12? Well, 2 does. So 2. Now remember, when you factor, you're trying to get back to what you started with. So if I have a 2, but I want a 2x squared, I need to make an x squared. If I want a negative 2x, but I just have a 2, I need a negative x. If I want a negative 12, but I just have a 2, I need to add a negative 6. Okay? Now, here's the quadratic equation. I'm going to use the big X. B goes in the bottom. A equals, B equals, and C equals. A is 1, B is negative 1, C is negative 6. So we have a negative 1 and a negative 6. Something that adds to get negative 1 but multiplies to get negative 6. Negative 3 and positive 2. So now, remember to attach your x. X minus 3 equals 0. And x plus 2 equals 0. You're solving. So this gives us x equals 3. And this gives us x equals negative 2. So now, let's go back. We did not do anything with this 2. So I'm just going to simply bring it down. However, I did simplify that big parentheses into 2 smaller parentheses. So this is my simplified equation. All right. So on your graph, I want you to plot your two x-intercepts. So we have one at 3, and we have one at -2. All right, now, if you graph that, our y-intercept is going to be this -12. So my graph don't go that long, so I'm just going to sketch it. And it'll look something like that. Okay, how many real solutions do you have? 1, 2. 2 real solution. Okay. Now, I want you to try B. All right? Try B. If you can't factor it, then you must know that it don't have a real solution. Okay? So try B. And I'm going to check these tomorrow to see if you tried them. B, C, let me do D with you. It's a little bit different. So you're trying B and C. I'm going to do D, and then you're going to do E as well. So we have x squared minus 12x equals 0. Oh, we don't have that yet. X squared equals 12x. So remember, I want everything to be on one side, but I want positive numbers to be first. So I want to subtract this 12x, both sides. All right, now, I don't want to do the big X because I don't have a constant term, but I can factor out. So what do both of these have in common? They both have an X to me. I want an X squared, but I just have this X, so I should add an X, right? I want a negative 12x, but I just have a 12, so maybe I should put a negative 12. Right? Now, remember yesterday, what did I tell you? When you just have a single x, literally all that means is x equals 0. That's the easiest one. Now this one, you have to solve. X minus 12 equals 0. Just add 12. So there's one solution, there's two solutions. Okay? So graph that and draw the graph. You have your two solutions, so graph that and draw the graph. All right, E. So E is kind of the same thing that we just did on D. So first, you are going to have to distribute this 4, okay? Then you'll have to move everything to the left side of the equal sign. After you move it, then you will need to use the big X. Got it? All right, 11 is really, really easy. Sketch 3 parabolas. Remember, parabola is a fancy word for that U. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw 3 graphs. Okay? Different possibilities for a quadratic function. Remember, quadratic is x squared. It can have, at most, 2 real solutions. So, here's one option. There's 1, 2. It can also have 1. Well, that one went very good. There we go. There's 1. And then it can also have 9. So there are my 3 possibilities. Okay. If you go to, let's see, number 12 and 13, those are 2 quadratic formulas. I know you love them. So I'm going to do B with you. So remember, here's the formula. Negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Okay? You gotta know it, guys. So here's our equation. Remember, A equals the x squared term. Well, there's a negative 6 in front of x squared. B equals the x term. There's a positive 11 in front of the x. And the C is the constant. So first, all I'm doing is plugging in these values for the letters. Remember, when you plug in values, you must use parentheses. Okay? So, we have a negative 6 plus minus well, back up. Start over. Negative 11 plus or minus the square root. Negative 11 squared minus 4. Here's A. Here's C. And that's all over to A. Okay? So, these 2 negatives make a positive. Negative 11 squared is a positive 121. Remember, we just bring our minus sign down. Then we're saying 4 times negative 6 times 10, which is a negative 240 all over negative 12. If we keep going, we have 11 plus or minus the square root. If you simplify that, $361 over negative 12. Can keep going, but I'm going to have to move over here. So we have 11 plus or minus the square root of 361 over negative 12. I believe the square root of 361 is 19. Yes, it is. 11 plus or minus 19 over negative 12. Now, all I'm doing, guys, is I'm breaking it up. So I'm simply saying 11 plus 19 over 12 and 11 minus 19 over 12. That is 30 over 12. And this is negative 8 over 12. So I can actually simplify both of these. Negative 2 over 3. And this would be 5 over 2. Okay? So, now, what I want you to do is I want you to use the calculator on Agile Mind. I want you to type this in, and I want you to sketch the graph below. You know your 2 x-intercepts, your 2 solutions, your 2 zeros. That's what the quadratic formula is used for, and they are boxed. Okay, I did B with you, so I want you to try A. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to A. A equals, B equals, and C equals. A, there's a 3 in front of x squared. There's a -5 in front of x, and there's a -4 in front of C. You take those three numbers, you plug them into the quadratic formula, you solve, you simplify. Yes, you will have decimals. You will have a positive decimal, and you will have a negative decimal. Okay? All right. Make sure on number 17 you wrote Wednesday. My video stopped again. I will make an extra video for all you lovely people who are not here so you do not miss this important information. On 18, this is very important as well. Complex number is a number that can be written in this form and this form only. A plus B I. Know it, live it, love it, learn it. Where A and B are real numbers. So you will always have a number for A. You will always have a number for B. That I will stay in I because that is the imaginary I that goes for your complex number. Okay? Now, let me see. There it goes. All right, on 19, we're going to skip 19. I will come back. However, please go to 20. You will have a quiz over this chart. This is called the discriminant. Wait, where's my... Oh. There we go. Sorry. Number 20. Right here. You will have a quiz over this chart. Okay? The discriminant is the thing that is under the square root. In the quadratic formula. If this discriminant is greater than 0, meaning it's a positive number, there will be 2 real roots. If it equals 0, like it literally equals 0, there will be 1 real root. If it is negative, it's less than 0, it will have 2 non-real complex roots. Okay? Non-real means they're not real, means you can't see them, hence why they're not touching this x-axis. Okay? Let's see. We can do 21. Sorry, this is a long video, but this is a long section. I'm trying my best to make it as short as I can. All right, I'm going to do the first one. You're going to do... No, we're going to do them all together, actually. So, go ahead and write b squared minus 4ac. All right, we got a equals, b equals, and c equals. So, quadratics have to be set equal to 0. Is a set equal to 0? No, it's not. So, we have to change something. Let's move this 7, both sides. So, now we have a 3x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. Okay? A equals 3. B equals -4. C equals 7. Okay? We're literally plugging in numbers, guys. -4 squared minus 4 times 3 times 7. Guess what you're doing? You are literally plugging that into your calculator. You get a -68. What does that mean? It's less than 0. So flip back on your page, number 20. When it is less than 0, what do you have? 2 non-real complex zeros. Okay? It's as easy as it gets. All right. Now, B is the same thing. A equals, B equals, and C equals. What is the term in front of the x squared? 5. Do you even have an x term? Like, do you see an x? Just the x? No. So when it is completely missing, it is not even included, that term will be 0. Okay? Our constant term, however, is still there. So it's 80. So, you do B on your own. Now C has everything there, but it's on both sides, and we want everything on one side. So the easiest thing that I'm going to do is I am going to move this 3x squared to the other side, because I like positive stuff. So we have 3x squared minus x plus 5. A equals, B equals, and C equals. Okay? A term is 3, B term is -1, C term is 5. You are taking that information, you're plugging it into B squared minus 4AC. Okay? All right, so I'm going to stop right here. If you've got to the end of this video, I apologize, it's so long, but this is such a long topic. On top of that, while making this video, I have decided that I am going to change our agenda up a little bit. Let me get mine out, and I will pull it up so you can see it as well. All right, so right here on our agenda. So today you're at home. You were supposed to finish SAS 2 and SAS 3. Okay? Since SAS 2 is so long and so confusing, I only want you to do SAS 2 today. This is all you're doing today. All right? Tomorrow, we will pick up with SAS 3 and our more practice. So that will move everything down. So I will send this out on Teams so you know as well. But just know today you are just finishing SAS 2 because it is so long. Have a great day. Please Call me if you need me, if you need help. I'm here all day if you want to come in. Come see me. Let me know.